question.
Right.
Don't ask yourself, don't say I can't go there. Ask yourself, how can I get there? And in loving yourself to get you there. You know, you get you there.
I have seen people see those stairs and not come up at all. Go right
It was
around.
almost me, because I had this at the restaurant down the street.
Stairs as a way up.
I just want to add, you know, I come from a very affluent, predominantly white community in suburban Cincinnati. And tell them where you had your last birthday party, because I had mine at some restaurant on Sunday. Where did you have yours?
This is the goodness of how God is. My 50th was at the Getty, and my 52nd was at the rooftop at Louis Vuitton. Both were gifted to me, and they were free. It was a free gift. Favor is better than money. And they said to me recently, that group of people, and this is the same thing the Getty said, they didn't want us to leave because they said there was so much love in that room. And they said, we have had entertainers and people from around the world, but we didn't want you to leave. And they said the same thing about us at the Louis Vuitton. When God's people come together, when there's such a spirit of love, it just permeates the environment. And so love each other, that's the best thing you can do. Love yourself and love each other. And so we were rooftop on Rodeo Drive, celebrating
The LB. Okay, and I forgot, Miss Merle Evers Williams sent me an email and said, please read my statement because I can't be there, and I'm going to try to do this while I'm off my glasses.
Here, you want some?
Yeah. Girlfriend cannot see a bit. Yeah, so she could not be
Yeah,
here.
that's wonderful. I'm so happy.
And Lyra, who's also in the book, is singing at the inauguration, so we got two journalists.
All right.
Represent. Yeah. Okay, she says, that's a difficult question. I was always a very, very shy person. First of all, let me go back. Does everyone know who Merle is? She's the widow of Medgar Evers. Okay. Okay. I was always a very, very shy person. Medgar would ask me to speak up, to be up front, and do this or that, and I would always say, no, no, no. The night of the day that he was assassinated, I wanted to go to a mass rally, and people said, no, that you're too distraught, that you cannot do that. I said, I want to go, and they said, we will not take you. I remember standing and saying, I will walk. I think that was kind of the turning point for me. It wasn't that I have not had, over a period of time, some questions about my strength. But I know I'm strong. I know I'm a fighter. I hope I have done some good and will do more, but I will take on anything and anyone that tampers with my life and my children, and with my husband's memory, my country, my people, for that matter. So get in line. I can hold it all. Okay.
Could you explain, you can explain the cover?
Oh, yeah, thank you, thank you. So the sister on the cover here, I'm going to butcher her first name. I believe it's Nasarara, but it's Prempeh is her last name. She's the first African-American female to graduate from the School of Metallurgical Engineering. If any of you know what that is, explain. Engineering from MIT.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. She won't tell me how old she is. She just says she's between 70 and 100 because she's trying to get her a new man. Your sisters understand, right? You know, I'm 38. On my internet profile, I'm 38. You know, she is a Leimert Park legend. Some of you might have seen her at some of the festivals down there. But she, right after I took this shot, she actually had a really serious debilitating stroke. But she beat it. You know, they told her she wasn't gonna make it. She's up now. So, you know, this is a picture of strength here. And one of the reasons why I chose this, because I was actually gonna put 3 or 4 people on the cover. And when it went through all its different inclinations, you know, some people could do it and some people couldn't. So this photo always spoke to me in a different way, because, you know, you look in her eyes and you just see the strength of the ages. You know, and I was like, that's it. I mean, you know, I may sell 300 less copies because no one knows who she is, but, you know, it's it's what had to happen. So she's our cover girl. And our back cover girl is standing right over there. Right there. So, yeah. So, anybody have any questions? Happy to answer any questions I can, but if not, oh Lord.
No, really, I mean, why did you want to do this book and why did you want to ask that particular question?
You know, these things come to me in the night sometimes because I am such a chronic insomniac that, you know, I'll just be lying in bed and, you know, think of, because I thought of the name for the next book like 3 months ago, but I didn't write it down, so now I can't remember. But yeah, I was, you know, I originally had started to do essays on all these women. And quite honestly, I got lazy. Because you know transcribing, you know what, yeah, so, you know, I was talking to people for 2 or 3 hours. You know, that's a lot of stuff to write down. So I wanted to whittle it down a little bit, and I said, why don't I just ask the core question? Because to me, the core question was always, at what point did you fall in love with yourself? You know, all the other stuff was, you know, just dressing. But that was the core question, so I just decided to ask that one question and put it together with their photo and call it a day. But the genesis for the book really came when I was sitting around talking to some high school friends. And we're all the same age, and yeah, they do look a little older than me, but you know, they age differently because they're Caucasian. And I mean, you know, they just age differently. You know? Yeah.
Ugly when we get old.
No, see, here's the difference. Here's the difference. You guys wrinkle a little bit more than we do, but we sag. But we sag. We get folds. So it's all relative. You know, you're gonna get something. You know, so you know, they were starting to really wrinkle up a little bit, but that's because they go to Florida and stay in the sun all day. And you know, they looked at me and said, "Oh, you haven't changed much since high school." But I can't take any credit for this. I don't even halfway wash my face. I don't moisturize most days. I just get up and go. I got the get up and go hair. You know, I take a shower and I'm out. You know, so
That's why I'm envious.
yeah. So that's kind of, you know, kind of occurred to me. I said, well, gosh, you know, because I think they're wonderful, and I thought they were wonderful human beings, just as they were. And I you know, I don't really notice how people look, really.
Yeah.
You know, because I listen to people's hearts.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was like, when are they going to start loving themselves? At what point does this happen? And I had done another story about how different cultures of women approach aging. And, you know, across the board, you know, black women, because, is this melatonin?
Melanin.
Yeah, because of this, don't age as quickly. So they weren't as concerned at 40 and 50.
Right.
You know, they start to get concerned maybe 60, 70, you know. But, you know, Caucasian women were getting concerned, you know, late 30s, 40s. Native American women, that was the most interesting thing because they would not talk to me for the story. They said, we are much more concerned about dying at 35 than the way we look because of the alcoholism and, you know, the disease in their community. And Asian women revere the old, so it was just, you know, it's an honor for them to get these wrinkles and all this stuff. And Latino women were, you know, kind of straddled the fence. You know, that was the only group that kind of went like, yeah, no, yeah, no. You know, so out of that and, you know, those conversations with friends came this book.
I need to know, and I might have been late for your answer, but have you answered the question? And if not, could you please?
I need to invite journalists to these things. Actually, if you read the book, in my foreword, one of the last lines is that, you know, I don't think there was ever a time I wasn't in love with myself. It wasn't a conscious thing. You know, I just kind of accepted me as I was with my big nose and my big lips. And I have the worst hair in my family. You know, oh my God. I have the worst hair. I have the worst eyebrows. My brother's got all the eyelashes. I mean, I'm just like, you know, got the worst skin. I got the worst of everything in the family. So, sorry baby. And you know, you just kind of accept that over time and go on. But I think that when I was in my 30s and my career was really popping and people were really receptive of what I was doing, it gave me, you know, a little bit more of an inner confidence about myself. But in the book I say, I totally fell in love with myself the day I finished this. This woman here helped me along because she just cussed me out. So,
Finish the book.
yeah.
This time.
Yeah, because this could have gone on another 6 years easily. So, yeah, that's really what happened. And, I'm just loving that, they're loving themselves, and I'm so happy that they're all in the book and that we have such a diverse group of women in the group, famous women, people you never heard of. And, they're just all sharing their wonderful stories, and it's really a pleasure to read. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I didn't write it, but it's really just a pleasure to read and get everyone's responses. And, you find out by the time you get to the end of this book that regardless of where we've come from, how old we are, who we are, we all pretty much want the same thing, and everyone's journeys kind of interconnect at some point. So that's the really cool thing.
And where are you going?
I'm going to England.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
I look at this room, I look at all these women and stuff, and I think we're all at different levels about where we're at with loving ourselves. And I found listening to all these women was very emotional for me.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of, myself included, women that I know were at different stages in our lives of loving ourselves. I think what you put together, and I look at all these women and where they came from and what they're saying, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think it needs to be stretched out to more women, and more women have to hear this. What are you looking at about promoting your book, like getting on some of these talk shows like Ellen DeGeneres, all these other things? I mean, because this is where you're going to reach a big group of women that need to hear about this. I don't care what ethnic group